Welcome to Homeschool Flashcards, Grade 6, where we will learn about calculating dates involving years BC and AD. BC stands for before Christ. You can also use BCE, and BCE is an abbreviation for before the Common Era. AD stands for Anno Domini, which is Latin for in the year of the Lord. You can also use CE, and CE is an abbreviation for Common Era. From the life of Jesus to present is AD or Common Era, and there is no year zero. So from the birth of Jesus till now, that is AD. And we start from year one, not year zero. Before Christ, before Jesus, is BC or BCE, before the Common Era. Alexander the Great died in the year 323 BC. So on our tiny graph, before Christ, we will put it somewhere up here, 323 BC. King Tut died somewhere in the year 1324 BC. On our timeline, we'll put it right here. Marco Polo died the same year, only in AD, so we will put a tick mark right here and 1324 right up here. So calculating dates involving the years BC and AD. Positive numbers and negative numbers are useful in determining passage of time with years BC and AD. Treat years BC as negative. Treat years AD as positive. Subtract 1 from the result to correct the missing year 0. Imagine you have a math problem like this. The duration of the Roman Empire is about 27 BC to 476 AD. How many years did the Roman Empire last? Now for us visual learners, here is 1 AD. We will make a little tick mark, 27 BC, right up here. That's when it started. And let's go to the AD, 476 AD. This is when the Roman Empire pretty much died out. As a visual learner, we know 27 plus 476. Total duration is 503 years. Now there is no year 0, so we take 503, subtract 1. 502 years total is the duration of the Roman Empire. But being a visual learner is not always an option because your teacher in math might want you to write out the equation. So let's identify the values. We got 27 BC. Since it's a BC, it's going to be a negative 27. And the second value is 476 AD. Since it's a AD, we're going to treat it as a positive. Always subtract the ending value minus the beginning value. Ending value is also the date closest to ours. 476 AD is closer and the ending value, so we will subtract it from a negative 27. That will equal 503. Subtract number 1 because there is no year 0. So 503 minus 1, 502 years. That's how long the Roman Empire lasted. The last Jewish temple was destroyed in AD 70. What year was Solomon's temple built if it was built 1026 years earlier? Let's identify the values. We have AD 70 and 1026. For us visual learners, let's use the time graph first. So we got 70 AD, that is the first 70 years in the year of our Lord. And we're going to subtract 1026 from the year 70. And what does it fall on? That's what we're going to find out. The values identified. So let's identify the values. AD 70, that's a what? That's going to be a positive since it's AD. And since we are subtracting, we're just going to subtract the 1026. So we always subtract the number closest to our date first, which is 70. That's a positive number. You never put a positive, but for learning purposes, we will put the positive. Subtract 1026. That is negative 956. Since it's a negative, that's going to be somewhere in the BCs. And we always subtract the 1 because there is no year 0. Negative 956 minus 1 equals 957. So Solomon built his temple in the year 957 BC. The Han Dynasty ruled China from 206 BC to AD 220. How many years did the Han Dynasty last? Let's use our number chart. We have from 206 BC, that's 206 years before Christ, and in the year of our Lord, we have 220 years. How many years total? So 206 plus 220 equals 426. Subtract the 1 because there is no year 0. 425 years was the duration of that empire. But we need a formula. So 206 BC, that is a negative. All BC numbers are treated as negatives. 220 AD, that is a positive. We subtract the ending value minus the beginning value. So we're going to subtract 220 minus negative 206, and the answer is 426. Subtract 1 because no year 0. So 426 minus 1 equals 425 years. Duration of the Han Dynasty was 425 years. Let's do one more. How many years passed between the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC and King Tut in 1324 BC? Let's identify the values. We have 323 BC. Since it's BC, it's negative. And 1324 BC, also a negative. But for the visual learners, let's use our number graph up here, date line, and let's write 323 BC. That's somewhere up here. And King Tut died about 1,000 years earlier in 1324 BC. How many years pass by? But we're going to write the number equation. We subtract the ending value minus the beginning value. So the ending value is something closer to our date, which is 323 minus negative 1324 equals 1001 years. Since we are not going from BC to AD, we do not have to subtract a 1 in this scenario. So 1,000 years and 1 year passed between the death of King Tut and Alexander the Great. Thank you for watching.